Ready me while I tell you about the craziest pick-me girl bestie I've ever dealt with in my life. And I'm buckling for this one. So this was like 3 years ago, in one of my single eras, right? And there is this guy that wanted to hang out with me so bad, would never leave me alone, and I was like, you know what, like, I'm just gonna hang out with this guy basically to get it over with, because I know it sounds bad. I was always just turning people down though. I was never interested in talking to anyone. And he was really putting in a lot of, effort. So I was like, fuck it. Seemed really nice. I'll hang out with him. Now, I had told him, I'm not just coming over. I'm going to meet you somewhere in public. He was like, yeah, totally fine. Like, I understand. Let's meet at place. So we end up meeting at the place. And he actually was really funny, right? And I was like, okay, this guy is like... And he was cute, funny. I'm like, maybe I was too judgmental in my I hate a man era. And I really thought, honestly, not even that part. I thought, like, I could be friends with this guy. Even if it didn't work out, I'm like, this is someone I could actually hang out with and, like, have a friendship with. No. He was like, my friends are having this big, like, not, like, party, but, like, kickback down the street. I showed them a picture of you and they really want, like, to meet you, blah, 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 some horse shit, right? And I was like, I don't know, like, I am very out of a house party phase, like, I was closer to 30 at the point than I was to 20. I was like, I'm just not really interested in that. And he was like, no, it's not, like, a party, it's just, like, a few of my friends, like, please, I don't want to stop hanging out with you. I stupidly say, fine. I'll stop by. I'm not staying late. I have things to do tomorrow. I will stop by. So it's only like 5 minutes away from where we were at beforehand. And we get there and he's like, hey, I just have to tell you really quick. I had to think of a name for this girl. I'll call her Casey. I gotta tell you really quick. My best friend Casey is in there and she can be a lot. And mind you, he had brought up Casey. The reason I'm saying Casey is because her name was something like gender fluid. So I thought at first he was talking about his guy best friend because he had brought up Casey a couple times, like, when we were hanging out. So, in my head, I'm thinking Casey's a dude because it was just odd the way he made it sound. And when he calls her a she, I was like, oh, okay, like, do you have a thing with her? I was like, let me tell you one thing really quick before I walk in there with you. I fight for no one's attention. I will never refuse ever to be a prop to make another girl jealous if you are talking to this girl, X, Y, and Z. I think that shit's nasty. When girls do that and, like, try and intentionally be with someone to make someone else jealous, I don't compete for anyone's attention. Tell me now straight how it is, or I'm not walking through that door. And he looked, like, kind of shocked at me. Like, I just said something crazy. And he was like, no, like, trust me, like, we've never hooked up. Like, I've known her forever. It's not like that. It's just that she is very protective over me because she's known me for so long. And I'm like... I think I'm going to leave. I didn't even want to give it a chance. I was like, I think I'm just going to leave. He's like, no, please. Like, I'm really having fun with you. I was like, fine. I'll get a chance. But I'm telling you, if your friend makes me uncomfortable, or if any weird shit happens, I'm leaving. Like, that's it. So I walk in with him. He's introducing me to, like, 4 of his friends. And then there's the Casey girl with another girl. When I walk in, they're both dead staring at me. And it's like that stare where, like, I feel bad for a girl sometimes because, like, you try too hard to make, like, a bad face and you end up just looking really weird. Like, it's not working. I was getting really weird looks. I'm, like, smiling at them, though. I'm not a fucking mean girl. And he finally is like, hey, like, come up here to Casey and her friend, right? And they're walking over, and she's like... As she's walking up to me, I was like, what the fuck's going on? She's like... I'm Casey. I am his bestie for the restie. I said, hey, Casey, I'm Riley. And she's like, I know. I'm like, how do you know? Like, I've literally just met him. Like, I'm confused. And she says, I saw when he followed you on Instagram. This girl's watching his following. I followed him back. Because, mind you, he'd been following me for a while, trying to hang out with me. I followed him back, like, a week before we ended up hanging out. So I'm like, whoa, like, this girl definitely is in love with this guy. Like, she's watching his following. I was like, oh, okay. Well, like, I've heard a lot of great things about you. Like, it's nice to meet you. Thanks for having me over here, even though it wasn't her house. And she goes, We're gonna call this guy, we're gonna call him G. She goes, G, a minute. And she, like, tries to point him over, and he was like, no. He's standing by me. And I was like, you really should go talk to her. Like, I just told you outside what I thought. I'm about to just leave. He's like, no, please don't leave, please. He's like, I'm so fucking sorry. He's like, Casey, goddammit, what? And he, like, walks away with her. And they're talking in this corner together, right? She's, like, to him the whole time, and I can see her, like, looking at me and, like, laughing and, like, touching his arm. I'm like, you know what? This is actually, like, kind of entertaining. I'm just going to stay for a minute to see how this plays out, because this is just, like, getting a little bit funny, because I am no threat to this girl. Keep him, sis. Have him. I'm fighting for no one's attention. It's for the birds. Anyways, he walks back over to me, and he's like, hey, I'm sorry, like, can I get you a drink? And I wasn't going to drink because I was obviously driving. So I was like, no, like, it's okay because I'm driving. And he was like, you mentioned to me that, like, you really like iced tea. You want some iced tea? I was like, that's really sweet. Yeah. You know what? I'll take an iced tea. So me and him, ignore this, by the way, trust process. I know I look crazy right now. Me and him walk into the kitchen, and he pulls out one of these, like, Lipton, like, bottled teas. And he hands it to me. And Casey shows up behind me. She's like, I'm gonna make up a name for the other guy. Does Greg know that she's drinking his teas? Like, those are for when he goes to work. As dude is literally handing it to me. And he looked at her and he's like, Casey, I'm handing her the drink. It's fine. Can you fuck off? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna finish my makeup in a second because it takes me too long to try and talk and do that. But she was like, oh my God, I'm just trying to teach her the house rules. Like, she's new. And his response to her was, this isn't a fucking frat house. What are you talking about house rules? What are you talking about? And I'm like, oh my God, this is so awkward. Cat's tail. Like, he wasn't even entertaining her at all. And I'm like, oh my God, I actually feel bad for her at this point. Like, this is so awkward. She proceeds to, like, walk past us and grabs a fifth of Tito's on the counter, looks at him, slams, I'm not kidding, Gizmo. Probably about 4 shots at once, and she's already drunk, clearly, by the time we get there. And I'm like, me and him are both watching it like, oh. Then, like, 10 minutes later, we're all sitting in the backyard together, okay? Clearly these shots have hit her. She goes, all right, you know what? And she stands up and she said, whoever thinks that Riley is a mean girl and that G can do better, I need you to raise your... Oh my God, I felt so embarrassed for her. I need you to raise your glass with me right now. And G's face, the guy, mortified. Everyone's jaws on the floor. No one picks up their glass. Everyone is like, not sure what to do. Like, she looks at me and she goes, you know what? Never mind. You're not even fucking cute, Playboy. Because I used to work for Playboy, and I think at the time it was in my bio, and she said she'd seen my Instagram. And I was like, so I'm gonna go. She ended up leaving, and I left right after her. I was like, no offense to you, dude, but, like, this is not something I'm interested in. Even, like, I can't even be your friend if you hang out with people like this. Like, this is way too much for me. Hi. I don't, like, do this drama with people. She ends up reaching out to me. I didn't see it because it was in my message request, but, like, the very next day on Instagram. And I read it, like, 3 days later because, again, it was in my request, so I don't check that every day. She ended up reaching out to me being like, I'm so sorry, girl. Like, I don't even remember what I said, but G hasn't talked to me, and you should just know that, like, we were in love, and I was just really upset because we were talking about getting married, and then he brought you over to our friend's house, and I was like, geez, like, I'm so sorry. Like, I had no idea that's how he portrayed it to me. Turns out that was a lie. I'm finding out, but I never talked to him again after that. No bad blood, but oh my God. And Casey, for the love of Pete, I hope you have healed, girl, and move on to someone that actually wants to be around you. That's all for now. Bye, guys.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you a story time about why I need a new tattoo artist and how I got a whole half sleeve for free. So, I met my tattoo artist through my ex when I was with him at the time. This artist does really good work. I really liked his line work. He did this arm as well. So he owns the tattoo shop. So we got along really well, especially knowing that he had a wife and kids. I had no sort of weird feelings with a man like tattooing me. And so that was how I got to know him. Fast forward, me and my boyfriend break up. And I want to get another half sleeve done. So I hit him up. I end up going to this shop, and as he's tattooing my arm, you know, he's like, hey, I heard you and so aren't together anymore. And I was like, yeah, you know, kind of out of my control, but you know, it happens. And he's like, yeah, so when is it my turn? Huh? I was like, huh? Nah, that's funny, that's crazy. You know, I'm trying to de-escalate because he has a needle in my arm. He can easily just ruin my arm piece. Fast forward, he finishes the first part of my arm, and I go to pay him. He's like, no, just pay me the next time you come. The following week, I come in for the next part of my arm. He finishes that one. He continues to talk about it and then states that he has a couch in the back room. I got a couch in the back room, just letting you know. A couch? For what? So I'm like, that's cool. You ever take naps on there? Again, fast forward, he finishes my tattoo. I go to pay him. He says, just pay me for the full sleeve when you come in next week, because he was doing the third part of my arm. He then messages me in vanish mode, okay? DMs me in vanish mode, talking about how we can do something on the side, like we could use that couch next session. And I'm like, no. So I go back, I reply, and I tell him, you know, I don't feel comfortable with this. You're my tattoo artist. That's it. I'm not one to wreck a marriage, especially because you just had a baby that's 1 month old. And I wasn't attracted to him, okay? And I just don't work that way. It's not your turn now. What the hell? That's so weird of you. Said, I understand if you don't want to tattoo me for this last session. I'll pay you for what you did and call it a day. I'll find somebody else to finish it. He replies, no worries. Tattoo artist it is. To me, that means, okay, you understand that I do not want anything more than you just being my tattoo artist and me being your customer. I basically had to have my arm behind me like this, and he was tattooing back there. So the whole time he has somebody there with us, which made me feel so comfortable because I didn't have to talk to him. So he's tattooing me, homeboy's there, and then homeboy leaves, and the tattoo artist says, so I got this really weird message from your Instagram. I think your Instagram got hacked. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, because it said something about like you didn't want to hook up with me and you just wanted me to be your tattoo artist. And I'm like, no, I'm good off of that. At the end, when I go to pay him, he told me that I didn't have to pay for me to consider his offer about the back couch, and that would be payment enough. This is where I say that men are so stupid with money, because how are you going to go from declining my money that I was going to pay you fully to support your family, and you're just going to tell me to keep that in return for me to consider sleeping with you? Not going to happen. I blocked him. I got a free tattoo, but his poor wife and family. Men are scum.
I need to tell you guys the story of my worst date ever. So let me set the scene. It is our second date, my second date with this guy. I really fucking like this guy, like a lot. We were mutuals for like a year. We knew each other for like a year. We're just friends, ran in the same circles. I always had the biggest crush on him. And then finally, after a year, he asks me out. Like, is there a better feeling than that? To finally be asked out? I think no. That might mean I'm like sick, need a hobby, or need to like really look at my addictions in life. But seriously, that is the best feeling in the world for me. So we go out, it goes well, we go on a second date. He's taking me to the movies. He takes me to this like really cute little indie movie theater in Hollywood. First we go to dinner, we get tacos at this really cute spot. It's going so well, like everything is good. We go to the movies. It's an indie theater, so we're like, what kind of snacks are they gonna have? Are they gonna have, what did he want? Like Bunch of Crunch? Like, oh my god, what if they don't have Bunch of Crunch? We're at the concessions. They have Bunch of Crunch. Oh my god, we're so excited. We're jumping for joy. We're so excited, having a nice time. Like, had a drink at lunch. Like, really fucking thriving. The movie neither of us know what the movie is. We go in blindly, and it's an indie theater, so like we don't really, it's not like a new movie that's out. It's like some random movie that had been out for a long time. All I know about the movie is that it stars a young Joseph Gordon-Levitt and a young Michelle Trachtenberg. Do you guys know what movie this is? Maybe you don't. That's all I know about it, and I love them. I fucking love them. So I'm like, this is gonna be so cute. Maybe it's a comedy. Oh, it's probably a comedy. Right. I don't even know what the movie is called. I never looked it up. I haven't looked at it since, and I'm not looking it up right now because it might trigger me. The movie is essentially, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is really young in it. He's like 16 or something. The story is, let me give you a really quick synopsis with no spoilers. He, as a child, is in a type of relationship with his baseball coach. Let's just say that. Yeah. And, oh, like, do they just gloss over it, I'm assuming, right? Like, it's not, you know, a huge part of the film, is it? No, it's the whole premise. It's not super graphic, is it? Super fucking graphic, yeah. And then he becomes, like, a really troubled teen. He essentially becomes a lady of the night, let's say. And there are constant, really graphic, really abusive scenes that we are watching on this date. And in the audience, like, there's a bit of laughter, you know, I guess there's like some moments of levity in the film, people are laughing. I'm having a fucking panic attack. Like, I'm usually fine with violence, like, it's not super triggering to me. That type of violence, I can't do it. Like, I can't watch it. I'm having a panic attack. I have to leave the theater multiple times, like 3 times, to gather myself in the bathroom to, like, get my shit together, because it's just, it's a lot. It's a lot. And yeah, it's just horrible. At some point, it's getting to the climax of the film, and I can see that what's about to happen is we are about to relive what happened between the coach and Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character. I can't take it anymore at this point. I'm like, hey, is it cool if we leave? We need to leave. And he's like, yeah, okay, let's leave. We walk out of the theater. I'm like hyperventilating. I'm sobbing on this date. Really just like not a sexy time at all. And then he buys me a martini, and I feel better. And it was actually kind of a source of connection for us. We were really able to get a little bit deeper than maybe we would have on a second date. So I guess that is a plus. We ended up dating after that. It didn't like kill it at all, but I don't like having complete panic attacks on dates. Call me crazy. So yeah, it was horrible. And then I took him on the worst date of his life a few weeks later. So I'll talk about that next if you guys would like. Cheers. I took a guy out on the worst date of his life, like genuinely traumatized him. He probably lives in fear till this day, and it ended up being our demise. That's how bad it was. This is why I shouldn't be in charge of these things, right? That's what we've proved, really. I just told the story of when he took me out on the worst date of my life. So really, I was just kind of getting my lick back unintentionally. Anyway, so it's the same guy that I just talked about. I really, really liked him. At this point, when I took him out on this date, we had been dating for like almost 3 months, not quite 3 months. So we were exclusive, but we were not boyfriend and girlfriend, but it was going well. He was about to meet my family, like we were gonna do dinner. It was going well. There was this show in LA, this comedy show in LA that I used to really, really love. I don't know if it's around anymore, but I used to really, really love it. It was basically a tarot card reader and a stand-up comic on stage, and they bring people up from the audience and they answer any of their questions with like a lot of levity. They're like joking around, right? The comic is kind of roasting the people, and the tarot card reader is like giving legit answers based on the tarot card. And she's legitimately psychic. Like, I actually believe she's psychic. Like, she has predicted some crazy things. I've been to the show a lot of times. I am going with a bunch of my friends. I invite my date to come along with me. He is like, hey, like, I don't know, I really don't like going to stand-up shows. Like, I'm really nervous that the comic is going to talk to me. Like, it's a big fear of mine. Like, I'm scared of it. Which is really surprising to me because this is actually the most charismatic guy in the entire world. He has 4 billion friends. So I'm like, what? Why are you afraid? Question mark. So I don't like really take it seriously. And I'm like, whatever, we'll sit in the back, like he won't talk to you. What I fail to mention is every time I go to the show, I go on stage to ask a question because it's a free fucking psychic reading. Like, hello, who wouldn't want that? But we go to the show. I'm like, okay, let me shut up. Like, let me not do that. I'm there with all my friends. He's there. Some of his friends come. I don't know why he invited them, but some of his friends come. We're taking up a whole row. And I'm like, okay, I can sit my ass down for one show and not go on stage. Like, I can do this. I am a grown adult. I can so do this in the name of this man who I really like. But hey, half the show goes by and I want to go up there. I'm itching to go up there. And I have a really good question to ask that I know will be entertaining. And I know as like, if I were producing that show, I would really want someone to ask this question and I'm in the perfect position to ask it. So you know where this is going. There's a QR code that you scan and like put in your information if you want to go on stage. I do that. I put in the question. I don't like tell him. I do this kind of in secret. Immediately they call me up. Like within 1 second, they call me up on stage. I go on stage. We all know each other. I've been up there a few times before. They say, what's up, Nicole? Like, what's going on with you? What's new? I say, so I'm dating this new guy. And they say, okay. And I say, are we going to get married? So just sit with that for a second. I thought it was fucking hilarious. Like, I thought this was so funny. Okay, to be fair, I didn't know they were going to do this, which is stupid. Like, I should have thought a little bit ahead and maybe like not so much about just purely myself for 1 second. They immediately are like, where is he? Where is he? They're looking in the audience for him. I'm like, oh, oops. They talk to him in the audience for a second. And then the comic goes, you know what? Wait, why don't you come up on stage? Hey, wait, why don't you just come up on stage? And to his credit, he was a great sport. He did it. He went up on stage, which he didn't have to do, although I don't really quite know like how he would pull that off, like saying no, but he didn't have to go. He did. He went up and the comic literally looks at me and he goes, Nicole, if you did this to me, I would break up with you. Why'd that make me want him? I was like, fuck this guy I'm dating. I want you now. Kidding, kind of. Anyway, he comes on stage. Like, it's not awkward at all. To me, it's not awkward. I'm having a great time. I'm like, he's being fine. He's doing great because he's super charismatic. So like nothing can make him awkward. And the tarot card reader is like, yeah, like I see you guys are in a relationship. She's pulling cards. I see you guys are in a relationship. I see like, you know, there's attraction there, whatever. Are you guys gonna get married? If you want. And I know her a little bit better now. And I know that that is her code for no, you guys won't. And I'm not going to embarrass you in front of all these people. Can you imagine? Can you literally imagine if in front of everybody she was like, no, hell no. You guys are going to break the fuck up. Crazy. But yeah, so she said that. And then we got off the stage and I was like, wow, like, thank you for doing that. Sorry. Didn't know that all of that was going to happen. We go to his house and he's really fucking mad. He's like, why did you do that? Like, I'm trying to be private. Like, why did you pull me up on stage in front of everybody and like do all that? Which I get. And I said, sorry. Why did I do that? I thought it would be funny. Like, that's genuinely it. I thought it would be funny. And I wanted to see what would happen. And yeah, he broke up with me like 3 days later. Did go ahead and still meet my family. That was awesome that he did that. I'm so happy that he did that. But yeah, he did break up with me. He didn't say that it was for that reason. He cited some other reason. And, you know, I was sad at the moment, like when that happened, I was sad, and I was sad for a little while after that as well. I was like, fuck, like I fucked it up, like, damn, I really liked him. But ultimately, like, would I do it again? I do think I would do it again, because this was me, like, at my most expressive, you know? Like, I would have never done that a few years ago. The only reason I did is because I'm at my boldest self, I'm at my fieriest self, I'm at my funniest self. Like, I genuinely just thought it was funny. And like, if you're gonna be with me, like, you have to be cool with me doing shit like that. You have to, like, not embarrass easily, honestly. And so I think it did really, like, show that we had a lot of cracks in the foundation, and we ultimately were just not compatible. So I'm happy it happened. But hey, I got my lick back. What do you guys think is worse, the movie theater story, aka the date he took me on, or this story, aka the date I took him on? Oh, by the way, since his friends were in the audience, they were all recording it, and they probably showed everyone. So sorry, King, kind of, not really that sorry, but I hope you have those memories forever and you laugh about it with the woman that you do end up marrying, and maybe even play it at your wedding. I'm such a fucking attention whore. I'm like, maybe they'll play the video of me at his wedding. That will totally happen.
This is how I found out that my best friend and my husband were having an affair. Initially, it was my husband's behavior that made me very suspicious, but my best friend's behavior soon followed. My husband started taking his phone with him everywhere he went. That was the first red flag for me. That was just not normal for him. I don't know how other people's relationships are. His weren't. He barely carried it around with him. He wasn't into his phone all like that. That changed one day. One day when he was in the shower, I noticed that his phone had a password on it. Now, this is something that was out of the ordinary. Neither one of us had passwords on our phones, so I was like, what is going on? Like, what are you trying to hide? Automatically, I felt like he was trying to hide something. So while all this weird behavior was going on with my husband, I was confiding in my best friend, and it got harder and harder for me to reach her. She was not replying back to my texts. Like, she left me on scene. This was just very weird behavior. We have been friends our whole life. I mean, probably from kindergarten on. So for her to just completely not get back to me was just very, very odd. With that being said, I had no idea that this is why her behavior was so weird and so off. I never in my life would have ever imagined her betraying me like this. A man will be a man, but my best friend, she was like my sister. So for several days after that, he was working a lot of overtime. It just didn't make sense because that wasn't the time of year that they actually had their overtime. So he's been with the same company for years. I've never heard of them having so much overtime this time of year. It's usually seasonal. Obviously, my suspicions grew higher. I started watching him more. So one day I had to work late. It just so happened to be our anniversary. I had to reschedule our dinner date. He wasn't so happy about it. But when I got home, he was in the best of moods. So I didn't understand. He seemed so disappointed when I had to reschedule our dinner date for our anniversary. But when I got home, it was a completely different person. He was singing a completely different tune. I just didn't understand. So the following day, he had to leave for a business trip. He went on business trips all the time. This was nothing new. So when I got home from work later that day, I had to do some straightening up, cleaning. He left the place a mess. He had to go on this business trip last minute, and let's just face it, men aren't just as clean as us. At least not mine. That's when I noticed it. I found this right on the floor, and to not talk myself out of what I already suspected, this earring is my best friend's earring, and I know for a fact it's my best friend's earring. It's because I bought it for her birthday. This was on the floor in my bedroom. Now, her and I have never been in my bedroom. I didn't allow that because I shared my room with my husband. I just thought that that was just off limits. So she was never actually in my bedroom. So how her earring got in my bedroom, there's no other explanation for it. But I knew exactly why he was in a good mood the day I had to work late and cancel our plans. So not only did he cheat on me, he cheated on me with my best friend on our anniversary. Now, I don't know how long this was going on before I noticed it, but I do know that she was at my house on our anniversary in my bedroom with my husband.
So this is the story time of how on a random Sunday in May in 2023 I gave birth to a baby on the toilet at home without having any idea that I was pregnant. And I just thought I'd make this video because I've just dropped my now nearly 3-year-old off at nursery, and sometimes it just hits me, I'm like, that is actually not normal, that's crazy. And I don't know who this is going to reach, if it's even going to go anywhere. But this is a reminder to advocate for your health, because the amount of times I've been to the GP and rang 111 before this happened because I knew something was not right, and nobody did anything. And then after I gave birth, we both got sepsis and were very, very poorly. So this story starts in 2022, end of the year. In August, I moved to London to go to uni. I'm from the Midlands, so long way away. Anyway, things don't work out there. I end up coming home, and it hits maybe Christmas time, and I get a kidney infection. I'm like, wow, this is knocked me about. This hurts a lot. So anyway, get antibiotics, that goes. January hits. Chest infection, so poorly, so tired, get rid of it. Another chest infection, get rid of it. COVID. So I'm just constantly getting poorly. My immune system feels down, I'm so tired, and then I end up getting stomach issues. I'm like, why does my stomach feel rock hard? Bearing in mind, I didn't have any bump, I was getting all my periods, on the pill, everything. So yeah, I end up going to the doctors and I say my stomach like is really sensitive and it's getting like rock solid randomly out of nowhere. And they're like, okay, well, when did you have your last period? I'm like, well, like last week. I've had all of them. So they didn't even do a pregnancy test. They were like, we're going to check you for celiac, we're going to check you for all these intolerances, allergies. I already know I'm lactose intolerant, but I was like, it's not when I eat lactose, it's just randomly, mostly at night. So that, okay, we're going to send you for some blood tests. I lay on the bed in the GP surgery, and the GP is feeling my belly. She's feeling it. She's going, oh yeah, nothing feels odd. Bearing in mind, at this point, I must have been 5-6 months pregnant. So I'll go for my blood tests, and then I get a call about a week later. They're like, oh yeah, you're really iron deficient, which I normally am anemic anyway. It's something that I've struggled with for years. They were like, yeah, we're going to give you some iron supplements and some vitamin D supplements. We're going to change you from the pill to the mini pill, blah, 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 blah. All these changes. And it gets to, I've started a new job in the May. I had my daughter on the 28th, which was a Sunday. I'd started a new job the Monday prior. I was still in my training period on my first week. It gets to the Friday morning and I'm like, oh my God, my stomach hurts. I was like, I've started my period. Go to work. Throughout the day, the pain is getting progressively worse. I ask one of the girls that I'm working with, I was like, have you got any paracetamol? I've got really bad cramps. She's like, yeah, of course. So she gives me that. I do the whole, didn't even touch the sides. I do the whole day in absolute agony. I go home and my mum's like, you don't look well. I don't really feel very well. Like, my cramps are really, really bad. So I take some cocodamol. Doesn't do anything, obviously. Go to bed late that night. Wake up in the middle of the night. Excruciating pain. Like, so bad. In my back as well. So I'm up all night. Then the whole Saturday, I do not move off the sofa. And my brother came into me at one point, because my brother and his girlfriend lived at home with me and my mum at this point. He came in and he was like, you really don't look well. I'm like, I really don't feel it. I was like, can you please get me a hot water bottle and some water and some painkillers? And he's like, yeah. And normally me and my brother are like banter. And for him to like be nice and like looking after me like that, he knew like something was up. But yeah, I'm literally on the sofa all day. Like, I literally can't even lift my head up. I'm in so much pain. my mum goes out, she's going out with her friends that night. She's like, right, give me a ring if it gets worse, because I'm here thinking I'm really constipated, or my appendix has gone, or it's my stomach issues playing up. I don't know what is going on. My mum was like, if it gets worse, call me. So she goes out with her friends. It gets to about midnight, maybe midnight. So this is like early hours of the Sunday morning. My mum gets home and she's like, you do not look well. I was like, Mum, I do not feel well. She's like, I'm going to call 111 right now, see what they can do, if they can get us an appointment somewhere. I'm like, okay. So she calls them and I'm on the sofa, like pale white, excruciating pain. I'm like, Mum, the pain is that bad? I think I've just weed myself. And she's like, that's okay, that's like, go up to the bathroom. So I'm on the toilet and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to poo, basically. So I'm pushing and pushing and pushing, agony, absolute agony. And then relief finally comes out. I'm like, oh my God, that feels so much better. My mum is on the other side of the bathroom door on the phone to 111. I'm like, that feels so much better. And then I hear a cry. I hear like, Wah! I'm like, what is that? Is that like, I thought it was like a cat in the garden, but then I feel like something moving, and I look down and I'm like, what? And I say to my mum, like, Mum, come in here now, there's a baby in the toilet. And my mum's like, hold on a minute. To the lady on the phone, she's like, hold on a minute. She comes in, she's like, what you want about? I'm like, there is a baby in the toilet. And my mum's there thinking it's like gonna be a tiny, like a sack or a tiny little baby. It's a full grown 8'6" baby in the toilet. So my mum says to this lady, get me an ambulance now, get me an ambulance, get me whatever you need to get me, my daughter's just had a baby, blah 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 blah. Anyway, they turn up. I'm like, I don't feel good. I'm like dazed, I'm in and out of consciousness. So in the end, 2 ambulances, 2 paramedic cars, a police car and the air ambulance end up at my house. Luckily, one of the men that was in the paramedics car was the sepsis specialist at the hospital, and he was like, she's got sepsis, that baby most likely has sepsis. And I just go and just pass out on the toilet. I could hear everything everyone was saying, but I couldn't move and I couldn't respond. So they get a cannula in me straight away, giving me antibiotics, fluids, everything. We get blue light to the hospital. I go in one ambulance and my daughter is taken in another ambulance. They say to my mum, who do you want to go with? And my mum's like, well, I want to go with both, but I don't know. And the paramedic just said, right, you're going with the baby, let her go, because your daughter needs to go now. She's very poorly. So I turn up and get rushed into the hospital room, like a private room on the like delivery suite. No joke, about 30-40 doctors all just stood waiting for me, asking me all these questions. I'm like, I don't know. They're like, what's your blood type? What's that? I'm like, I really don't know. I don't know what's just happened, let alone what my blood type is. All right. Anyway, they get me all hooked up to everything. I later found out that they'd said to my mum it was very touch and go. They were like, if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen tonight. So if they get through tonight, they'll be okay. And luckily we did. And my daughter is now nearly 3. She's the best thing that's ever happened to me. The best surprise ever. I'm a single parent. She's never met her father, and I don't think ever will. But here we are. And that's my story. And if there's any other questions about it's called a cryptic pregnancy. If there's any other questions or anything, then ask away, because I'm an open book and I want to help anyone else that this could happen to, because it's dangerous and it's scary and it's life-changing. And I'm just very lucky that I had such a supportive group of friends and family and everything to help me get through it. So there we go, that's my story. I am genuinely gobsmacked at how many people have seen that video and commented and asked questions and sent love in the comments to me and my daughter, because I made that video thinking that it wasn't going to go very far, and it has just absolutely blown up. So, but there was so many requests for a part 2 of what happened after I got to the hospital, and there were also so many questions in the comments, and I'm going to try and answer some in this video, and then make another video after answering some more, because there was so many and it is going to be impossible to cram them all into one video. One of the first things that I want to make clear though is I did not just leave her in the toilet. After I called my mum in, I literally straight away, my mum scooped her up. I was like paralysed with shock, but my mum did get her out of the toilet, do not worry. I did not leave her there. But in the previous video, I talked about how I got there. There was loads of doctors and everything. Pretty much the first night in hospital, my mum was allowed to stay with me, and genuinely, I don't know what I would have done if my mum didn't stay with me. But the next night, my mum had to go back to work, so I was kind of just left in this room by myself with a baby. I had no idea how to look after a baby. I had no time to research it. I'd never really been around babies in my family. I'm like one of the youngest. And I was really, really lucky that all of the nurses that were looking after me were so helpful. And the first night I was left on my own, there was this lovely nurse, and I wish I could remember her name, but it's blurry. My memories of that time are blurry. But she came and sat in the room with me, and she's like, I will just stay here all night. And she showed me how to feed her, how to burp her, how to know when she needed burping, like showed me everything I needed to know. And then she was like, you know what, you go to sleep, I'll watch over her. And different nurses kept coming in and checking. I was really, really lucky with the care that I received. And I was kept in hospital. I think we were kept in about a week for antibiotics and monitoring and everything. And genuinely, I had the nicest nurses. And on the day that I was going home, with my mum and my dad in the car. And one of the nurses that was looking after me, that hadn't been on shift, she was just walking in, and I ran back to tell her my baby's name, because the whole time I was there, I could not pick a name. It was so hard. Like, so many people take so long choosing their baby's names. And yeah, it took me the whole time I was in hospital. I was like, I really don't know. I was just sat scrolling for ages and ages, and on the last day when I was leaving, I found one. And I ran back and told her, and she was like, that's amazing. But yeah, another question that so many people asked was, how did you get everything that you needed? And to be quite honest, I didn't. I didn't even know what I needed to get. I didn't know what I needed. But my family, my parents specifically, and my family, my mum's friends, my mum kind of put out an SOS text, like, please, has anybody got a cot that they're not using or anything? I didn't even have a vest or a baby grow. Fun fact, we didn't have anything to take my daughter to the hospital in. They were like, have you got any clothes? And we were like, no. So my mum went into my baby box and got the outfit I came home from the hospital in when I was a baby, and she went to the hospital in that, which is just insane and actually really special when I think about it. But while we were in the hospital, they supplied me with like some clothes and everything, because I didn't have anything. And by the time I got home, I had everything in excess. My house looked like a baby clothing store. Everybody rushed out, got everything together. I literally had everything I needed. My dad got the pushchair, car seat, next to me crib. I came home and I had everything fully prepared, and I've never ever been so grateful for people's like kindness and generosity in my life, because there was no way that I would have been able to afford to get all of that by myself just on a whim. Like it's still crazy to me now, like how much help I got, and it's hard to imagine that there's people out there that don't have that sort of support. It must be so hard. But honestly, the main thing I could think about when I was in the hospital, I was so scared to tell my family and my friends. I was like, what is everybody going to think? I didn't know how anybody was going to react. Obviously, I knew my mum had my back the whole way. Was genuinely amazing. Like my brother, his girlfriend, my mum's best friend came straight to the hospital when it all happened. But then my dad was told, and I was so scared. I mean, I was 19. I'd just come back from uni. I was like, what is my dad gonna say? But he just got his coat straight on, came straight to the hospital. Everybody loved her just straight away. My dad came to the hospital, my grandma, my nan, my granddad, my best friend who lives like 40 minutes away came straight after work. Bag full of baby clothes, snacks for me. It was overwhelming how much love like we just got straight away. To this day, I don't even think I've got my head around it still to this day, and it's nearly been 3 years. But anyway, we were discharged and we came home. And I think the first night I was home, the whole time I'd been in the hospital, it kind of felt surreal. Like I was just going to come home and everything would just be normal again. And obviously that wasn't going to happen. And I think the first night I was at home, I just sat there holding her and everyone had gone to bed. And I was just like, what? It was like I was just sat there thinking, this is my life changed forever, and I've got this baby and I'm responsible for her, and I don't have a clue what I'm doing. I mean, I still don't have a clue what I'm doing, but I think that's just parenthood. You just wing it. I wing it every day. But it was so surreal just walking into my bedroom and seeing a cot there and all these bottles and all these clothes everywhere. It was really hard to adjust, if I'm honest. And I feel like the whole time I was in the hospital, I was a bit scared to bond with her, because it didn't feel like she was mine. Like, it didn't feel real. But as soon as I got home, I was like, okay, this is real now, and she's mine. And I think that's maybe where the bonding started. But that wasn't an easy journey. And I'll probably talk about that more in the other video where I answer some questions, because that was quite a commonly asked question in the comments, was how did you find bonding with her? And that is not a straightforward question to answer. But long story short, I just got really, really lucky that I had a healthy, happy baby girl, and that everybody was so supportive and just showered us with love and gifts, and it was just the best possible outcome I could have ever imagined from such a crazy situation. And I'll make another video answering a lot more of the questions, because there were so many, genuinely too many to count. But yeah.
Here's another story that indicates how weird my parents are, specifically my dad. So when I was about 12 years old, I walked into my parents' bedroom in the afternoon to grab something. And my dad was laying in bed, and I saw his phone screen when I walked in. And on his phone screen was an anime called Rosario Plus Vampire. Now, at the time, I was coincidentally also watching the show. I want it to be very clear that I was 12 years old. My stage of development in my brain was not to the point where I was understanding what fan service was. All I saw was that the main character had pink hair and she was pretty and cute, and I liked that. I did not realize that all of the characters were being incredibly objectified and hyper sexualized. So when I saw my dad's phone screen, I got really excited because I was like, "Oh, you're watching Rosario plus Vampire. I'm watching that too." And when I asked him about it and I got excited, he got nervous and he hid his phone and he was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And I didn't understand. And I was like, "Oh, I saw you're watching Rosario plus Vampire." And when he realized that he was caught, he was like, "Oh, yeah. Oh, you like it too." And he acted normal again. So I didn't think anything of him getting nervous at first. I was kind of confused. But then when he got excited, because my dad and I had such a turbulent relationship, I was just glad that there was something we could bond over. So he started making references to the show. And in one of the episodes, all of the students eat curry and they all become like curry zombies or whatever and start saying curry, curry. I don't know. And so often he would come up to me just randomly and be like, "Curry, curry," to try to bond with me through the show. And I would always think it was funny. And even when I was 14 years old, I made him a Father's Day card with the main character on the front of the card. Now, flash forward to me in high school. I am at a different stage of development in my brain, and I understand and acknowledge and am actually triggered by fan service. I cannot consume any anime with fan service in it. And at this point, I realize how weird Rosario plus Vampire was, in that all of the students, all of the characters in the show are students, they're children, and they are being objectified for the gratification of men. And my dad was consuming that anime. It is one thing for a little girl to consume that anime, in that I was not aware of the implications and the rationale behind objectifying these characters, and it's another thing for a grown man to consume that content. It is incredibly disturbing and weird as hell. And so as I got older and realized how weird it was, I progressively became more and more uncomfortable with my dad making references in an attempt to relate to me. And so it got to the point where he would come up to me and make references about the show, and I would just stare at him because I was so uncomfortable. And this is a side note, but also to be mentioned because I feel it could have some validity. My dad also followed Belle Delphine when I was in high school on Instagram and told me about it. Okay, bye. Story time about how weird my parents are. So, in 2023, I was in my last semester of my graduate program and I arrived home to visit my parents on the weekend. Upon entering the house, I greeted them, brought my cat in, and we started chatting immediately. I asked them how things were, and my mom told me that she had reached 50K followers on her explicit Twitter page regarding her OF account. It was in conjunction with her OF content and kind of just this extension. And sorry, my cat was trying to play with my AirPods. And so I congratulated her and tried to change the subject because it just kind of made me uncomfortable overall. And so I started talking about college, how stressed I was, how I was juggling an internship along with all of my classes. I was doing college full time, and I actually was doing more classes than necessary because I wanted to finish my master's program a year and a half in rather than 2 years in, which I ended up doing. But I was explaining that my programming class was really difficult, which was an extension of the courses correlating to my research method classes. And I was explaining how stressed I was, trying to juggle everything. And my mom told me that I should start an OF to make some extra income. And that I could wear that I could wear a bikini. That's my cat. And do tarot card readings. And that I wouldn't have to show anything explicit if I didn't want to. And that I could generate income that way. I told her politely no, that I am not interested in that, and I tried to change the subject again, to which she steered the subject back to me starting an OF, where my dad then entered the conversation. And my dad proceeded to tell me that he could be my OF manager and edit my videos. Yeah, so I basically told them, no, I want to be a teacher in Japan, and that would absolutely ruin many potential career paths that I could go down in the future. As well as I am vehemently against the institution of SMEX work. I'm not anti-SMEX worker, to be clear. I'm anti-SMEX work. Yeah, okay, bye. Here is another story time about how weird my parents are. In 2022, I turned 21. My parents wanted to take me to a bar to have their first legal drink with me, and I agreed. So I visited home from college, where before we left for the bar, my mom asked me if her friend could join us. He was a man who was freshly divorced and was struggling mentally, according to my mom. And I was like, of course, I don't want this person to be alone, so of course. So this strange man that I have never met and I have no idea who he is comes to the bar with us. And at first, I thought my parents were trying to set me up with this man. He looked like he was in his late 30s, early 40s, and I was just like, why is this man with us? As we proceeded to hang out through the night, we had a few drinks and we were playing a board game. We were actually playing Battle of the Sexes. So my dad and this strange man were on one side and me and my mom were playing on the other side. We were playing this game and we start chatting after the game ends, and all of a sudden my mom kisses this man in front of my dad. My dad's just like, and I'm like, sir, why are you smiling and looking at your wife kissing another man? And why am I here? I'm standing there absolutely shocked when my mom goes, I need to go to the bathroom. Do you want to come with me? And I'm like, yeah, of course. So we walk to the bathroom. I'm trying not to make it awkward while trying to come up with some kind of plan in my head as to how to bring this up to my mom when it just comes out of my mouth. We get into the bathroom and I'm like, what was that? And she was like, what was what? Girl, what do you mean what was what? You just kissed another man in front of my dad and me, your daughter. Hello? Hi, remember me? Your daughter? So that's what I said. I was like, you just kissed this man. What was that? And she was like, oh, well, I wasn't going to say anything unless you asked. What do you mean? So I said, asked about what? And she said, well, about him. This man is your dad and I's boyfriend. My dad has been really homophobic. I'm no contact with my parents now, by the way. My entire life. So I'm like, Dad's gay? And she was like, no, they are just more like friends. So at this point, I'm really drunk and I'm just like, okay, whatever. I don't need to know any more about this until I'm sober. And even then, at this point, I didn't understand the inappropriate complexity of my parents introducing me to their boyfriend without gaining informed consent from me. And that they were like, hey, we're polyamorous, because they're polyamorous now, and we have a boyfriend. Would you be interested in meeting this man? To which I would say no, because I don't want to meet their boyfriend. I would be supportive, I would be happy for them, but I wouldn't necessarily want to meet their partners. So we went to one other bar. It was an arcade bar. We played some arcade games and we went home. And the next morning, I had a very interesting conversation with my parents. If you're new here, my mom has an OF and my dad is her manager. They're
polyamorous. I grew up as a devout Christian for the first 17 years of my life, not by choice, but by social conditioning from my parents and forced implementation of these practices from my parents, only for them to pivot to pressuring me to drink and literally trying to get me to start an OF. And I have been seeing a conversation online about people saying, if you influence your children to start explicit content creation, that is a form of trafficking. And I could not agree more. That is a form of trafficking. We think trafficking is a reenactment of Taken, and that men en masse are going to come out and throw you in the car after drugging you. And yes, that happens. That's terrifying. But it's oftentimes people that are within your vicinity. SA perpetrators are usually family members or friends. Those who traffic people are usually people that the victims know. Parents traffic their children all the time. Parents socially condition their children to be the perfect victims. In my house growing up, I would cower in fear if I disobeyed in the slightest. Or even if I didn't disobey, but my parents perceived my action as disobedience. Because I would be beat, I would be verbally abused, I would be emotionally abused, I would be neglected, there would be stonewalling, my things would be broken or taken away. So parents cultivate social conditions for their children to be the perfect victims. And this is something that I'm actively trying to break out of, but when you're conditioned that way your entire life, and then at 20, 21, your parents are like, hey, you should start making explicit content because it will be good for your future. And using this guise of looking out for you, wanting financial freedom and financial stability for you, instead of looking out for your safety, advocating for your mental health. This is a form of trafficking. And I just wanted to talk about this because I was looking at the conversation around Piper Raquel, and it's really sad. I'm no contact with my parents. I have been for about 2 years now. But the sinister nature of parents preying on the vulnerability that they cultivated in their children in order to traffic them and guide them into a pipeline of dangerous work is more common than I think we would care to admit.
Story time. Because I literally just saw this girl's TikTok. I have nothing against her. I'm not going to tell you who she is. I just wanted to bring it up because I thought it was kind of funny, but also kind of like crazy. So when I was younger, I used to ride the school bus. And I had this friend. Well, me and her, I guess, I don't even know. We had kind of gotten into an argument. And there was a big age gap. I think she's like 2 or 3 years older than me. So I would have been like 14, 15. She was like 16, 17. And basically, we got into an argument because, I remember, I was 13. Because TMI, this was before I had ever like gotten my period. Like I hadn't got my period until I was like almost 14. So I remember one day she was like, I wasn't like talking to anybody on the bus. She said something to me and I guess I didn't hear her or something like that. And basically she said I must have been on my period, and she's saying it to like these other people and they're like all kind of laughing. It pissed me off because I'm like, how dare you to say that? And I was like, I've never even had one of those. And she's like, okay. And I was like, okay, devil worshiper. Which was kind of messed up on my part, but I'm pissed off. I'm better at holding it in now, but like sometimes there are times where I say the meanest thing, and I'm working on that. But I basically called her a devil worshiper because her clothes, which no big deal. She literally like, she's basically emo. She, had dark hair. She had, dark clothes, and yeah, I called her devil worshiper, and I felt so terrible after. But like, I was so mad because like, how dare you like say something like that? Because, like, it's literally not that big of a deal. But I had never gotten one, so I kind of thought there was something wrong with me. So it kind of offended me when I heard that. And I'm not joking. She literally took a safety pin and she was like, "I will stab you with this." And I was like, "Do it." As I was getting up to get off of the bus, I put my arm on like the back of the seat to stand up, and I had turned my head, and I felt a pinch, and I looked back, and she stabbed me in the finger with the safety pin and took it out. But she stabbed me. I was just flabbergasted. Like, it didn't even really hurt, and I hate needles, but I was just so surprised. I was like, that has to be utterly insane. Okay, all I did was laugh at the situation and then get off the bus and then act like it never happened again. And then next time I saw her, we never brought it up. Nothing was ever said. I just thought that was funny.
Story time on how I got fired from working at Ulta Beauty. This is going to be a long one, so buckle up, and there may even have to be a part 2. I was fresh out of hair school. All the salons were closed. Nothing had reopened. It was during COVID, but department stores had started opening. So I applied for a job at Ulta. This was my first actual interview. Every other job I'd had, it was kind of just people came to me and were like, "Hey, do you want to work?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." Okay, so I was really excited. I got all dressed up. I went to my interview. The interview went great. They said, "We'll call you in a few days if you got it." I get a phone call in a few days, and it's a lady that's different than the lady that interviewed me. And she's like, "Hey, you got the job. You need to be there at 6 a.m. on Thursday." The store doesn't usually open until 10. But I figured this was just to like clue me in on what's going to be going on. I show up. I knock on the door because, of course, it's locked. The lady flings the door open, and she said, "We're closed." I said, "I know, I work here. I was told to be here at 6. "You don't work here. They didn't tell me anybody new was coming." I said, "You're the one that interviewed me like 4 days ago. I got a phone call the day after and was told I got the job and to be here at 6. She's in a tizzy. She's huffing. She's puffing. She was a maniac of a mental state. But that's a whole nother story. So basically she comes in. She's like, "I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know what you're going to do today. I don't know what you're here for." I said, "Okay, well, I'm just going to walk around and kind of notice where everything's at so that if people need help, I know where to take them." Fine. That's what she said. I'm like, okay, great first day. Turns out that the lady that interviewed me and the lady that was there on my first day was the assistant manager, and the actual store manager was out of town or doing some training. She wasn't there, and she had not clued in her team on what was going on. So I never got any sort of training. I almost started to think maybe they didn't have training. Maybe their training was like just hands-on, like I'm going to show you what to do and you do it. When you go into Ulta, everybody's on the same level. Work there, you're an assistant manager or you're store manager. We only had 2 assistant managers and 1 store manager. Everyone else was capable of doing the same exact things. You would have to unload truck, you would have to stock product, you would have to redo planograms, which is like all the actual brands and their imaging and all that product set up. You would have to do signage for the outside of the store, the windows of the store. You'd have to do the clearance, the sale items, all that stuff. So everybody knew how to do all of that. I do believe I was hired in the month of October, so for the first like 4 weeks, the team that we had was really the same people, and when November hit, they started hiring even more seasonal help. Well, I noticed when all this seasonal help started coming in, things were a lot different. They actually had like training. They had to go to the computers, they had to watch videos, they had to like take these little quizzes, things, all kinds of stuff that I didn't get. But I started as a door greeter. I was helping on the floor. I even had people come back and wait for me some days. And store policy doesn't allow for them to let a customer know if a certain worker is there. They just say, if you see her around, you can speak to her, but I can't tell you what her schedule is. So some days when I would come in, I literally had ladies be like, "Oh my gosh, I love the product you had. I've been waiting on you to get here. I want help with another product." So things were going really well. I really was enjoying this job. I was good at everything. I'm just going to be honest. I was a good door greeter. I was a good cashier. I was good at unloading truck. I was good at restocking. But that wound up being my downfall. One day, the actual store manager is actually there on a day I was scheduled, and she pulls me into the office and she's like, "Why is none of your training finished?" I said, "Well, I don't know. What training was I supposed to have?" She said, "There are so many videos and things that you have never watched, and I cannot let you work anymore unless you complete them." I said, "Okay, well, so-and-so assistant manager threw me into this. She didn't do anything." She's like, "It's okay. I'm going to work it out. We're going to get this through today, but I need you to sit down in here, and for the rest of your shift, you got to get all this finished." So I did. I didn't make it on the cash register very long because unless you push those dang credit cards down people's throat, they do not want you at that cash register. And I am not about lying to people. You say you don't want it, I'm not going to ask again. But our store manager wanted you to push them. Here's a brochure anyway. Take it with you. Oh, you'll get this much back today. Blah, 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 blah. That's not me. So I was on register if they needed somebody, but they knew they weren't going to get no credit cards sold that day. I had a more flexible schedule than a lot of the people there. A lot of them were in college. I had just gotten out of college. I didn't actually have another job at the time. So I wound up being one of the people to unload truck. Everybody unloads truck differently. Our store did it before the store opened. So we'd have to get there at like 4 o'clock, 4:30, just depending on how big the truck was, how much we had to do. And usually it was only about 3 or 4 of us there to do this entire truck. And if you know an Ulta truck, you know that is one hellacious demon. There will be 150 boxes in that truck that weigh 50 pounds apiece with about 16 different eyeliner shades just scattered in the box with all kinds of random stuff. No boxes for one particular brand. Everything is just thrown into these boxes so carelessly. We were constantly damaging out product that got shipped to us because there wasn't even any packing foam in there. Every single can of Kenra hairspray, the lid would be off. The weight of the other boxes on top of the hairsprays would have them constantly spraying out hairspray in the delivery truck, and we'd have to cancel out an entire box because the cans would be empty. So the little shopping things that you walk around with, the little white baskets, we would have those scattered across the floor after we got done unloading truck. We'd have to open every box. We'd have to sort each basket into each brand. Then you would have to go over to each brand actually out in the store, and then you would have to put everything up. It took hours. That's all supposed to be done before the store opens, but we never had the manpower or the space to make that happen. But I was good at it. I was fast. I was so quick. Now, I'm one of those people, when you give me a job, you give me a task, and I complete that task, I'm done. I'm ready to go. So a lot of days, if I got that truck unloaded and my shift wasn't over, I would get to leave an hour and a half early. Thank you to the first store manager that we had. Some things happened, I don't know. We wound up getting a new store manager, and I don't know who was in charge of hiring these people, but y'all are so stupid. Y'all know who they hired to be the store manager of an Ulta Beauty? A Best Buy technician. This man didn't know nothing about makeup. We were constantly having to teach him what the different products were used for. He couldn't help a soul in that store. But I digress. This man really thought he knew how to run a store, and he really did not, and this led to a lot of issues. The way the store had always worked from the time I began was that if you wanted a day off on a day they had you scheduled for, all you had to do was have somebody cover your shift, because everybody's trained the same, everybody knows how to do everything. So there was a day that I needed off. I was going to be out of town. Our store manager still scheduled me on this day, even though I told him I wasn't going to be there a month before. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Just have somebody cover it and everything will be fine." So I go out on the floor. I'm like, "Hey girl, do you want to pick up an extra shift? I can't work next week." She's like, "Oh yeah, I got it." Now mind you, we probably have about 15 employees that were hired from the time I started to about 4 or 5 months in. I did get asked to stay after the holidays because they said I was really good at what I did. All these new people that have maybe worked there a week or two, haven't even finished their training, were making like $4 more than me. So of course I asked, why is everyone making more than me? And they said, "Oh, they have more experience." I'm like, they're 4 years younger than me and they just got out of high school. What experience could they have that I don't? Especially since I've worked here 5 months longer than they have. Well, then me and the assistant manager got into it an hour before my shift's about to end and I'm about to head out of town. Because she said that there's no way that I cannot come to work tomorrow because she needs me on truck because I'm so fast at getting it unloaded. I said, "I'm sorry, the manager messed up the schedule. I'm not going to be here and she is going to cover my shift. We don't need her. She's not as good at it. She's not good at truck." I said, "She gets paid more than I do. If you didn't train her properly, that's not my fault. I will not be here." I left work early that day. I didn't say nothing to nobody. After that argument, I left. 45 minutes left or not. I'm on my little vacation and I start getting phone calls and text messages from everybody that works there. "Girl, they're going to fire you. They're going to fire you. If you don't call them and tell them that you're calling out sick, you're going to be blacklisted." I never called. I never texted. I never went back. Because if you can pay someone that has supposedly more experience than me, but don't want them covering my shift because they're not as good at it, then you have a problem or I need more pay. So goodbye, Ulta. I'll never see you again. Y'all asked for more story time, so I have another one about Ulta. How I thought I was going to get arrested not once, but twice working there. Let's get into it. So the way Ulta works is every time you come in the morning, you all stand at the front, a manager comes up, she checks your pockets, checks your bag, makes sure you're not bringing anything you don't need to bring into the store. Then you're allowed to go to the back, put your bag up, and start your shift. Same thing goes when you leave the store. You go up to the front, you clock out, they call a manager up, a manager checks you, and then you're able to leave to make sure you're not taking anything out of the store that you didn't purchase. Mainly because you're not allowed to buy products during your shift. So after your shift, you can go buy what you want to buy, go through the checkout, you have your bag of items, you have your receipt, they check that stuff, and then you leave. Now, you know I didn't get Ulta training if you've seen my last Ulta video. If you have not seen it, please go back and watch it. A lot of this will make more sense. So on this particular day, I get checked in just fine. I work my shift. It's time for me to leave. I did not purchase anything, but they call a manager up because that's still normal policy. And this manager is patting me down, snatches my bag, rips it open, and she's like, "What is this?" I said, what is what? Like, I really don't know what's in my bag. What are you talking about? She says absolutely nothing, grabs me by the shirt, pulls me to the back office. The back office is probably the size of the front seat of my car. Puts me in a chair, shuts the door, and leaves with my bag. Y'all, whew, I was hot. Real hot. Because first of all, you haven't told me what's going on. And second of all, you're not paying me to be here, so you cannot hold me hostage. All of a sudden, I hear all this commotion directly outside the door because basically it's a long hallway and it's the office at the end, and then right outside the office door is the break table, and then right beside that is where we like unload truck. So I can hear all this stuff going on, and the actual manager of the store, thank goodness, Kristen. I love her. She is the one manager that we had before we got the Best Buy tech. If you watched the last video that didn't know anything. Anyway, so I can hear her talking to the manager saying, just calm down, like it's okay. They open the door, and immediately the manager that's losing her crap is like, she stole this, she stole this. I said, ma'am, that says Bath and Body Works. This is Ulta. I said, and if that's the problem, you can let me leave now. She said, well, what about this? And she holds up a chapstick. Well, this chapstick I got from like a Ipsy or a Birchbox. So I'm like, y'all don't even sell that here. Like, seriously, what is the deal? Then the actual manager, she's like, okay, you need to calm down. Like, I know you didn't train her when you first started because you were the manager that did her interview and on her first day that did none of her training. So this was like when the manager called me in and she was like, none of your training is done. Like, you got to sit down and watch these videos. And I was like, yeah, I didn't get training. She's like, oh my goodness, we got to get this together. So she knew the situation. She's like, these items aren't from this store, and because she wasn't trained, she didn't know. And I'm like, I didn't know what? What didn't I know? What am I missing? So apparently on your first day of work at Ulta, they're supposed to train you and tell you that on your second day at Ulta, you're supposed to bring in all your makeup products and all your beauty supplies that you think you may ever bring into the store, so that it can be reviewed, and you have to put stickers on each item so that they know you didn't steal it from the store. And I'm just like, huh. Now, Bath and Body Works, she was dumb for that one. All she had to do was read the label. But the chapstick, one thing I didn't know was that even though we don't sell all brands in Ulta, if Ulta, because Ulta stores sell different brands at every store. Not every store carries the same stuff. But we can take return items from any brand that Ulta sells as a whole. So while I may have got that, not that chapstick from our store, somebody basically could have returned it to the store, and then I could have basically taken it. That's where she was coming from on that. Well, I didn't know any of this. I didn't know you had to put stickers on anything. I was being held in a back room. Like, I really thought they were going to call the cops on me and arrest me. It was absolutely insane. Now this should have been my final straw. Story 2 should have been my final straw. Same crazy manager. Now, this manager either hated you or liked you, or she hated you in the beginning and then liked you, or she liked you at first and then hated you later. Really, you didn't know what you were going to get that day. But after working there for months, she actually started to like me. And I got chosen to be someone that went with her on a bank run. If you know what a bank run is, it's where we take all the big bills out of the register, we go get smaller bills for it to restock the register, and you have to actually leave the store to do that. And Ulta policy is that you have to have 2 people from work go on a bank run. So I got chosen that day to go with her. Now, we're cutting it close. It's like 20 minutes before the store opens, and they're just now realizing that we don't have enough change in any of the registers. So we like run out of the store, we get in the car, we're zooming, and I don't know everything that this lady's saying. She speaks Spanish, and when she's upset or angry, that's mainly what she speaks. And my 2 years of high school Spanish did not teach me enough to know anything that she was saying. I also don't know what bank they normally go to because, again, I've never done this before. We go into the first bank. She literally is like already got an attitude with the bank teller, and she's like, I need change. And she just like kind of chunks the bank bag onto the counter. And so the teller's just kind of like, do you have an account with us? I don't have an account with you. I don't need an account with you. You give me change. You a bank. And so I take a step back. I'm like, oh, what is happening? This is very uncalled for, very unprofessional, and I'm scared. Okay, so we run out of that bank because after the lady told her she needed to have an account with them to get the change, she was just pissed. She left. And then we go to another bank. Same thing happens. By bank 3, I was ready to call the cops myself. She is so irate, screaming going in here. She barely gets the door open before she's going, you're gonna give me change. I have a store to open. So she goes up to the teller, and she throws the bank bag up. It slides across and falls in the lady's lap. I'm appalled. I'm literally in the back going, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. I don't know who she is. We work together, and that's it. So then she's like, well, ma'am, do you have an account here? And she starts asking her the same questions that all the other banks have asked. So I don't know anything about a bank, but it must be policy. And of course, it sets her off again. And when I tell you, the only thing I can understand coming out of my manager's mouth is every cuss word in Spanish, because that's all I can remember. That's it. But I heard them all. And I literally just start taking steps back, because I got to go get in the car. I don't want to be associated with this mess. Well, as I'm backing up, I see the lady at the drive-thru window start punching all these buttons and just staring, and the phone is ringing. And they're like, ma'am, you need to leave. And I'm like, I already know who's on that phone. Oh my gosh, we're about to get arrested. We're about to get arrested. You know, I really think that's probably the closest to a bank robbery I will ever get or ever want to be. Yeah. Well, we go to bank number 4, which apparently must have been the right bank for us to go to. Because we get our change, we get back to work, and I swear I sat in silence for the rest of my shift because I was still processing what had just happened. It was absolute insanity. I was embarrassed to be with that woman. And it's something I think about often. It was quite insane. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, what they kept asking her was, do you have an account with us? And she would say, no, I don't have an account. But she would never tell them that it was for Ulta Beauty. Like, she just didn't want to tell them that. It was insane. But on a good note, one of the great managers and girls that I work with saw my last video and said that none of the managers that were there when I worked there besides her work there anymore. So that's great. Thank goodness they didn't need to. I don't know where they're working now. I feel so sorry for whoever it is. But at least they're not at Ulta. Maybe I'll go back. Not to work there, but just to shop.
It's 2:22 in the morning. I'm finally dropping that freaking story time on my ex because I'm actually done with everyone having their opinions. People commenting on my videos being messy. People I don't even know. Like, I don't even know you. So get in my comment section. Since you guys want to be so nosy and he wants to be messy, he wants to be like sending his freaking little hoes in my comment sections. I don't care. I'm exposing everything. Okay, so a lot of people were asking how we broke up. So I'm just gonna tell you guys how we broke up. I did not want to bring this to the internet, but it's gotten to a point where I've been letting people walk over me. People talk. So you know what? I'm gonna give you guys something to talk about. Share, like, go ahead, share this video with everybody. Freaking screen share, grab your little snack because I'm done. I'm exposing everything. We broke up towards the end of December. We broke up because he was on the game too much. I didn't like it. We just weren't working out. We were arguing. He was being aggressive with me. I just didn't like it. He didn't like it. He literally was saying how he needed to work on himself. He said we broke up because he needed to work on himself. I literally asked him, are you gonna hold around? Like, if that's why you want to break up, just be honest. Tell me right now. I literally asked him. He told me no, that he genuinely just wanted to work on himself. I believed it because I thought he was a man of his word. I thought he was a raw man. I didn't know this is how he was. I figured out the type of person he was after we broke up. Boom, we're literally in contact for a bit. I start no contact. It got to a point where it was really weird because the last time I came to his house, he was trying to pressure me into literally pressuring me. Like, even though we were broken up, I literally kept telling him, like, we were broken up. And he was over here manipulating me, talking about some, oh, but, like, you're the person I care about, your person I want to do this with. He was literally trying to pressure me into him. That's the type of guy that you guys are over here siding with. I literally made an excuse to go home too. I was making an excuse to go home because I felt uncomfortable. This dude is weird. Matter of fact, the last time we hung out, when he walked me to my car, he was asking, oh, can we be friends with benefits at least? Like, you're a freaking loser. No. So, boom, I started no contact. I was like, okay, this is going nowhere. I do not want to be in contact with this person. 2 days after no contact, he goes to a party. And I start getting calls from people. People are calling me like, oh, no one knew we broke up at the point, so they thought we were still together. Like, oh, like this and that, he's doing this. I found out he made out with the dude that they allegedly, people saw that. People came to me and told me that he was making out with the dude and that he made out with this other girl. We honestly ended on good terms. He's the one that started being weird. He started going to a class that my best friend was in and telling my best friend things. Keep in mind, this was unprovoked. I haven't done nothing to this man. I have not spoken to this man. We literally broke up. We were on good terms. Obviously, during this time, like, I was already obviously going through a lot, like hearing all this. I wasn't eating. I would not leave my bed. I started like not going to school. I didn't go to school for weeks. Just because how embarrassing it was that everyone was talking about, oh, like, he's gay. Like, at the end of the day, no one wants to hear that about someone you love. Like, that's just so weird. Like, everyone was down talking him to me. People were telling me about what he was doing. Like, I was just really disappointed in him. So my best friend called him out. She was like, oh, like, do you want her to find out? Like, do you want me to find out what you're doing? Like, why are you being, like, so public and weird? Like, you're popping out so quick after a breakup. And he's like, how much you want to bet the girls that told her are girls I made out with? Like, if that's a flex, like that's honestly the lamest sentence I've ever heard. Keep in mind, I did nothing to this man. I literally left him alone, and he was making weird remarks and being messy, unprovoked, like no reason at all. And that's just what made me move on, because like it hurt, because I was like, bro, like honestly, never a mature conversation. The only time he reached out to me was when he was worried I was gonna make a story time on TikTok, and I was just like, bro, like that's what you reach out to me about. And he was just defending his actions, saying, oh, it was the best time to party, I just did what I wanted to do, everyone gets slighted some way somehow. Like, that's just what I remember from that conversation. So at this point, I'm like, okay, this man doesn't care about me. Cool, I don't care about him either. I moved on. I literally moved on like a week. I literally moved on a week after that, all that. Boom, a month later, a whole month after we break up, he already did all this stuff, guys. Keep in mind, he's still doing stuff at this point. I don't even care. It's been a month. A whole month later, I become friends with my first ex. We become cool again. We sat at the same table. We had the same friends. So I obviously become friends with him again. And I don't know why this irked him or why he cared. But when he found out I was friends with my first ex again, he got bothered, I guess, which I thought you didn't care because you were doing all this. Like, I genuinely thought, like, that, like, over. Like, why do you care? So, boom, he finds out I'm friends with my first ex. He starts trying to, like, get licked back, like, being friends with his ex, like, if I care, which at this point I don't even care because I'm over him. So I'm just sitting there, like, okay, like, dude, like, literally, I was just so confused. I was like, okay, like, how is this supposed to hurt me? We're not dating. Like, you're single. And then he started trying to be evil. And my friend, like, oh, Nina told you I have 0 bodies. Well, I lied to her. I had a body while we were together. Like, this and that. Like, trying to, like, hurt me, I guess. But I was at the point, like, I was so over him that, like, honestly, nothing he did could affect me because what he did in the beginning already affected me enough, and I got over it to a point where anything he did just doesn't even seem bad. Like, I was just like, okay, like, why are you trying to be evil unprovoked a whole month later after you did all this first? Then he goes around, he's telling the whole school that I did him wrong, this and that I'm weird, forming a whole freaking hate squad on me. Honestly, I've been unbothered. Like, I've just been letting it slide because, like, okay, like, you're all obsessed with me. I honestly did nothing to this man. When I say I did nothing, he did all that stuff unprovoked. Unprovoked. I don't know how many times I have to say that. He's a weird individual. So at this point, people are saying that I started a rumor that he cheated on me. Let me clear it up. I never said he cheated on me in my life. People came to me and asked if he cheated on me because, okay, let's put our thinking caps. If you just break up with someone, people don't even know you're broken up, you pop out to a party and start making out with people or being all up on people, what are people going to think? They're going to think you're a cheater. I never told anyone he cheated on me. He painted that image of himself out. Okay, second thing I want to clear up for everybody in my school that wants to be talking. The girl that I said he made out with is going around telling people that I'm insane. I've gone insane after the breakup, that they never made out. they did made out. He said it himself. Like, my love, if you don't want to get caught, don't kiss someone who kisses and tells. He told my best friend. There's screenshot evidence of him saying it himself. But I'm the weird one. Okay. And I don't know why everyone was so freaking worried that I was friends with my ex again. Like, I could do whatever the freak I want. Half of y'all went back to your exes 100 different times and looked stupid. The moment I become friends with my ex, I'm evil. Like, why are you guys so worried about my life? Like, go do something. Like, genuinely go do something. On top of that, the girl that made out with him wants to call me weird because I followed one of her friend's exes and that I was friends with. Keep in mind, yeah, we were friends, but guess what? While we were friends, she was trying to get at my ex, add him to her close friends, and was liking stories because he told me all that. So I don't understand. You're mad that I followed your ex because we're friends, but you're doing all that with my ex. So make that make sense, my love. Literally make that make sense. And that's what I'll never understand is that you guys are over here calling me weird, but you guys excuse these weird behaviors from yourselves and can't even call yourselves out. Like, you're genuinely, like, get it together. Like, get it together. Keep in mind, half the stuff you're saying, you won't even say it to my face. I haven't heard anything directly from anybody. And if you're commenting on my videos unprovoked, you look dumb. Over a guy that I genuinely don't even care about and you're commenting on my video. Like, genuinely you're talking about me in comment sections. Like, it just gives fan energy. Like, do you guys not see how stupid that looks? It actually looks so... It's such a bad look. And for everyone at school that wants to form their opinions, this and that, boom, I give you guys something to talk about this video. Go ahead. I don't care. I'm about to graduate anyways. This will not bother me. At the end of the day, I did nothing wrong. If he's bothered, he should have never reacted the way he did when we first broke up. He should have handled it more mature. And honestly, I don't even have hate towards him. I genuinely, when I say I don't care about him, I don't care about him. I don't think about him. It's times like this when people mess with me is that I remember, I'm like... And I genuinely wanted to leave it on. I didn't want to bring on social media because that's so immature. But it got to a point where, like, I don't even care. Like, you guys are over here walking over me. You guys are doing all this. You're all weird. You guys all talk bad about each other. So it's like, okay, your life is already miserable. Obviously, I can tell. So that's why I don't really try to take it personal. I never wanted to come at anybody because I know at the end of the day, everyone's going through stuff. And I try to freaking sympathize with people. But it got to a point where it's like, I can't sympathize with any of you. Like, so genuinely, whatever. If you don't like me over that, honestly, I don't even care because half the people that are talking about me and don't like me, I don't even know you. Like, so yeah, boom, everybody want to know why we broke up. That's why we broke up. That's what he did after the breakup. Honestly, I expected better from him, obviously, because when we were together, he always carried himself to be like a real guy, this and that. But in reality, he was just like a loser, just like all his other friends. And that's fine. Like, you figure out how people are after the breakup. And like I said, I didn't do anything to this guy. The only thing I did was literally not even towards him. I just became friends with my ex a month later. Not even trying to get back at him or anything. Like, he did all that stuff before I even became friends with my ex. And then he got hurt over that and he tried to become even more evil. And I just didn't care because I was over him. That's literally it. So yeah, the point is that don't talk about something if you don't know anything about it. And yeah, because you guys honestly don't even know anything's going on in my life right now. And you guys are just adding on more. So honestly, like, just find something new to talk about. Or matter of fact, keep me as a topic. Making me popular, like... And it really just pisses me off because while everybody was doing this and freaking tormenting me, I was literally at home and I could not get up from bed. Like, I literally, and I still had the heart to be kind to everyone. It took me, like, it's been like 4 months for me to genuinely finally speak up. And don't get me wrong, in the relationship, he was a good boyfriend. I'm not gonna wear trash everything. The breakup was mutual. Even to people who have came to me, I've defended him. I've defended this man, even though I really shouldn't anymore. But yeah, he treated me good in the relationship. I don't know what happened after. I always assumed, that's why I always try to defend him because I literally did not know what he was going through. I would tell people maybe he's going through something because you genuinely never know. Like, I saw his actions as like, he's going through something. Because at the end of the day, I try to sympathize with people, but some people don't deserve it. Another thing, when his mom finally gave me my stuff back, after everything he did, he had the nerve to break my $400 beats. Keep in mind, I returned all his stuff in one piece, so really, I should have been the one breaking his stuff. I caught him on my headphones. I was supposed to get new headphones and never got my new headphones. Yeah, like, it just shows how immature he is. Like, that's such a female thing to do. Like you're gonna throw a little tantrum and break my headphones?
I matched with a guy on Hinge, and I was supposed to go on a date with him about an hour ago, and I didn't show up. I found out that this man has a whole wife and kid. Yeah. So a little backstory. A couple days ago, I downloaded Hinge, and because I broke it off with my fiance, and I matched with this guy on there, and we immediately started talking, whatever, and he wanted to plan a date for tonight. And I was like, yeah, I was down. And so we had this all planned out. We were gonna go to this restaurant, and then we were gonna like hang out. We didn't know if we were gonna hang out at my place or his place afterwards to like play board games and, you know, just get to know each other some more. So fast forward to today, I told my friend about it, and she ends up doing like a Facebook search or whatever of him before I go on this date to make sure that, you know, I'm gonna be okay. And she finds out that he has a whole ass family that he failed to mention that he had. So I didn't show up to this date. He's probably sitting at the restaurant wondering where I am, but I unmatched him on Hinge. I'm also already an hour deep into a spicy cube, so I need to call my sneaky link to come over. But should I expose him? Should I tell his wife about him having a Hinge account? Or should I just leave it like that?
I have a friend in high school that slept with their teacher, because I did. Sit down, girl, because I'm going to tell you all about it. Allegedly. So I remember one night at 4 in the morning, I get woken up by a phone call and it's my homeboy. I'm not, like, I hate being woken up. I hate it so bad. So I remember just picking up the phone already irritated, right? I'm like, what do you want, you know? He just starts saying, like, I just slept with Coach Ray. That's not her real name, by the way, for obvious reasons. But he was kind of just like, ugh, like, as if he knew he was about to get in trouble or he was, like, regretting his decision type attitude. Like, I thought he was just fucking with me and telling me some bullshit. So I was like, boy, get off my phone. Don't call me at this hour. I'm trying to go to sleep. Like, I literally thought he was lying to me, because in what world would that be real? You know, like, there's no way he would do that. So I hung up. And I go back to sleep. Well, obviously in the morning I go to school. I start hearing his name getting thrown around. And then I had one of my friends come up to me and she was like, oh my gosh, like, so-and-so slept with Coach Ray. They've been sleeping together. You know, to make things worse, Coach Ray was married to another coach at the same school, and they both taught the same class together. And I was in one of those classes with them. But I knew these coaches. And I remember after my friend said, like, oh my gosh, did you hear? I just kind of stood there like, no. Obviously I did know, but in that moment, everything started making sense in my head. I was like, oh my gosh, my homeboy was telling the truth. Like, I just started feeling so bad, because I'm like, dang, he probably called me because he needed someone to talk to, and I'm over here like, get off my phone, I'm trying to go to sleep. Like, I'm low-key internally tripping, because it's like one thing hearing about it, but when it's your own friend, you're like, what the fuck, you know? And I really fucked with the coach too. Like, I loved them so much, and I just couldn't believe that Coach Ray would do that to her man, you know? So I was just in disbelief, honestly. I text my homeboy and I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I blew you off last night. Like, I thought you were just fucking with me. But then obviously I started asking him, I wanted the details, you know? I was like, how did this happen? When? How long has it been going on? Like, I wanted to know everything. But before I get into that, I remember, obviously, Coach Ray gets fired. And her husband, like, he was sad. In class, you could tell he was, like, sad. My homeboy, from what I remember, I only remember him getting suspended. Not suspended. I don't even think he got suspended. I don't even remember. He did get banned from the athletic area, because that's where, like, the coaches' classrooms were. I think that's why. I'm not sure why he got banned specifically from the athletic area, but I don't remember him getting suspended, for real. When he was telling me about what happened and stuff, the details, I asked him, I was like, where did y'all even do it? Like, where did y'all go? Last thing I expected was for it to be happening at the school. They were doing it in the coach's office, the locker room, the weight room, on the benches, the classroom, at her house. He literally told me, he's like, anywhere you could think of. Literally everywhere. So it had been going on for a minute. Putting two and two together, I was like, he called me because he knew he got caught, or they got caught, or whatever. And that's why he was like, oh my God, you know, when he called me. But that's not it, okay? That's not where the story ends. Eventually, everybody moves on. We get over it, like the whole scandal. Like, we just move on from it. We're just like, whatever, he slept with Coach Ray. Let's move on. Well, it comes up in a conversation one day with my homeboy. He is still seeing Coach Ray. And I'm like, what the fuck, like at her house or what? And he said, yeah, she like invites me to go over all the time. And I was like, and you go? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, you go? I think I don't know, grooming, manipulation must have been going on, because this lady was 30 something years old with like doing stuff with a 17-year-old, you know, like that's weird. He started telling me about how she would always tell him like, let's run away together, this and that, like some crazy shit, bro. I kept telling him like, I just don't understand why you keep seeing her. Like, this is crazy. Trey wasn't even all that, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, what do you see in her? Like, I don't understand. Is it like the excitement of it all or what? Like, I just don't get it. He said, I don't know a lot. Like, I don't know why I keep seeing her and this and that. Eventually, I just dropped the subject. I just stopped bringing it up. I'm like, that's just their thing now. Like, it's not even like the school's problem anymore, I guess. Like, I don't even know. I think he was 18 at this time, maybe. So it was like legal, I guess. Eventually, I just dropped it because I just didn't understand it. I would just get annoyed like talking to him about it. How long did it continue for real? Don't know. Yeah, it was definitely something to experience in high school. Anyway, that was the tea from like 7 years ago at this point. Anyone watching this that's a minor, don't be doing that, okay? That's weird.
Okay, but did you even attend public school when you were younger if you weren't forced to run the mile, even though you wore jeans and bare paws, not Uggs, bare paws, to school every Monday, the mile?
Story time on my first time getting did as a not straight female. So basically, I had this best friend, right? We're still really close friends, but I just wouldn't call us best friends anymore. But we're gonna call her Megan. Okay, so side information, Megan, she lived down here in Gastonia where I live with her grandma, but her dad had custody of her, but they just didn't live together. I don't really know why, but yeah. So she lived down here, but the woman that her dad was marrying lives in Charlotte, so she was always up there, and I would always go with her. I met the step family and all. Like, I became, like, basically a part of the family, right? We were all so cool. Everything was so cool. Like, I'm telling y'all, I was literally, like, another daughter. I went to Atlanta with them. We went on road trips, like, all of that. I was over there almost every weekend, and in the summer, I was there every single day, literally. Well, as we're getting closer and closer, I'm starting to meet more of the family or whatever, right? And there's one dude in specific. We're going to call him John. So it was just one of those days that I was over at Megan's house and we were, hold on. Okay, well, one day Megan had hit me up to go to a function. Okay, cool. You there, I'm there, we there. So we go to the function. The function location gets changed like 1,000 freaking times. So we're ending up walking and going around Charlotte literally 1,000 times. But this one dude, John, he has a car. He's like, hold on. I'm sorry, little pieces of information is coming back to me as I tell this story, but John had a car. And John was Megan's stepbrother's cousin. But John had been around enough to where, like, all of us was cool. Like, we all knew John. John knew us. We was cool. Well, we get stranded at one of the last locations that the function was at. Me and Megan, we get stranded. So Megan calls her stepbrother because we're stranded at this last party location, and Megan's stepbrother is with John. John has a car. And we didn't want to call her stepmom and be like, you can come get us now, and we'd be at a totally different spot from where we started. So, yeah. So needless to say, John comes to get us, right? We're on the way back home. He's speeding like overly crazy, but that was nothing. We were fine. We were chilling. We'd been in the car with him before. Everything was fine. Okay, right. So John comes and gets us, brings us home. We get upstairs in the house. We're chilling, and all of a sudden, John wants to go to the gas station. The gas station's like right down the street. So he asks if Megan's stepbrother can go with him. Megan's stepbrother doesn't want to go. Megan doesn't want to go. I don't really want to go, but then again, I don't really mind. And he was like a really sweet dude, so I'm thinking like maybe if I go, I can get something out of this, you know? Mind you, we're all around the same age. He might have been like a year older than us. I don't know. But after a while, we're just talking, and eventually he gets ready to go. So I'm like, okay, if they don't want to go with you, I'll go. Not thinking nothing of it. Mind y'all, like I said, dude is really, 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 really sweet. Like, he's such a sweet dude. He's always been that way, too. Like, since the first time I met him, he's tall, dark, handsome. You know, he has manners, all that. But I'm gay, so that didn't never matter. Like, I noticed it, obviously, but it didn't matter to me because, like, okay, you're just a cool nigga. Right. Well, okay, so he gets ready to go, and he lets me get on his back because I live in this apartment complex, and you had to walk up, like, 3 flights of stairs to get up to, like, where their apartment was, and then 3 steps to get down to, like, the door to leave out the apartment complex. He carried me on his back all the way out the freaking, like, complex, down the stairs, out the door, into the car.
But I'm still not thinking anything of it because, like, he's always been a gentleman. Like, this is something that I'm thinking he would do on a normal day because he's just, like, that's just the type of dude he is. And I've been around him before, like, plenty of times. So, we get in the car, we get to the store, we're just having, like, small conversation on the way to the store, nothing crazy. I'm sorry, y'all, this story is insane. Anyways, we get in the store, I call Megan to see if she wants anything, she got peach rings and a Sprite, got that for her. We get back in the car. Mind you, while we're in the store, he's saying, like, kind of, like, not weird things, but, like, stuff that, like, is, like, he's hinting to something. But I'm not really paying too much attention to that, because, like, whatever. So we get back in the car, and he knows I'm gay, guys, mind you. He starts asking me questions, like, would I ever do anything with a dude? A whole bunch of other stuff, right. So we get back in the car, he starts asking me these questions. He's like, would you ever do anything with a dude? And some more stuff, and I'm just like, I don't really know, because I'm not expecting these questions from him at all. Oh, that's another thing, y'all. He has an accent. He has a really strong accent. It's like Haitian, African, French kinda. I don't know, but it sounds beautiful. And he has really rich chocolate skin. So he starts driving back home. Mind you, it's like a 3-minute drive. And we're just talking. He's still asking me questions, but I'm like, I don't know. If I did, it would probably be like a one and done type of thing because I don't like that. Like, that scares me. Not really scares me, but it's just like, I don't know. I don't find that amusing. And then he was like, but would you ever do something? And I'm texting my friend while this is happening. I'm like, he's asking me these questions. Like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Like, what is this? What is he trying to get at? Because now I'm like, whoa, hold on. Then he just like full on rips the question. He's like, do you want to do something with me? Hello? Excuse me? Exit stage left? Boy, when I say I wanted to out that hole so fast, because what are you talking about now? I thought we were just going to the store. I thought this is just a little store run, gas station run type shit. What is this? But I still sit my dumb ass in the car like a dumb ass. So I'm like laughing it off, joking, trying to like, you know, like you're playing, like you're not serious, like there's no way. He's dead ass. So he asked the question again, right? And then I'm like, I don't know, because like, you know, I fuck with you, like you're cool, I don't want to mess nothing up, He's like, it doesn't have to be like that, like nothing has to be messed up. We could just like, you know, try this one time, and if you don't like it, then cool, you're not gonna like it. But like, you know, you should at least try it, get an experience. I'm starting to think, I'm like, you know what, you might be onto something, but hold on. So then what's going through my mind is like, this is like crazy, like not that anybody would ever find out because I don't really know this nigga like that, but that might be the like uphand to this. I don't really know this nigga like that, so it's like not like it's ever gonna get out. And if I don't like it, then you know I can still be like, you know, strictly clickly, and nobody will ever know a thing. Mind y'all, we're in the car, so I'm thinking about that too. I'm like, but like where at? Because like, you know, we in the car, like in the bag. I'm like, oh, okay. Then I'm thinking, I'm like, but do I really want my first time to be in a car though? But then I'm like, if I don't do it now, will I ever get a first time? And it's like, what if something happened and I'm like in a weird situation and I'm not prepared? Like, this is my chance to, you know, level up on my game, on my ball knowledge, so I can be prepared for when the time actually comes, if the time ever comes. Mind you, I never did nothing like this before, so this will really determine if I'm really like, you know, a Fruit Loop or not. And I was curious, right? So eventually I gave in and I said, yeah. So we were already back at the house, or like at the apartment complex by this time. And I was like, it can't be here, like not in this parking lot, because her parents had left. I don't know where they went, but they were coming back. I just don't know when. But I wasn't gonna take no chances. So he goes into another like parking lot or like a complex that was close around. And one thing led to another. We get in the back seat, you know. Question. Don't be flabbergasted when I say this, but hands down, that was one of the best first experiences I ever had. Definitely not on top of my first experience with, and like, but like, I be seeing girls who say that their first experience, like, actually, like, was horrible. Mine was not. He was, like, so gentle, but, like, not gentle at the same time. Like, I don't know. This might be a little TMI. Basically, he just did exactly what he needed to do. I don't know. Mind you, this was a very risky risk because it was not protected. So, if he would have, I would have been... And that would have been... But apparently his pull-out game was strong because, Anyways, I'm getting off topic. So, we crushing. He talked me through it, like, the whole thing, basically. I did give him, which that I don't like. I figured that out fast. I don't know how y'all enjoy that shit, but anyway. Mind y'all, I can't even give y'all too many details because I don't even remember. Like, all of it happened so fast, but it wasn't bad. And then while it's going on, I'm kind of thinking, like, what the fuck, there's no way this is really happening. So, like, when it was happening still, it's kind of a blur too, but it happened. So we finished, and yeah, that was probably the most awkwardest part, but it was so, like, he was so cool about it. He gave me his shirt to, like, clean up and stuff, and he gave me water, all that. He made sure I was good. Then we get back in the front seats, we pull off, we go back to her house, Megan's house. Megan, like, what the fuck, it took y'all so long? Mind you, remember, I was texting Megan before, like, what was going on. So she puts two and two together, and she's like, oh, wow, that's crazy. She wasn't, like, mad, but she was like, girl, I would have never expected that one. Honestly, girl, me neither. After that, though, I gave her stuff. We talked and stuff, like, about what happened. I was low-key scared the entire night because I thought I was gonna have a baby and be pregnant, but that never happened. And he, like, made sure I was cool the rest of the night, and also, yeah. But I told him how I felt about it. I didn't really mind it, but, like, it's not, like, something that I would look forward to all the time. But, like, if I wanted and I need that, I would go get it if I needed to from him. But yeah, that was that. We're still cool to this day, though. I'm gonna see him again soon when I go back to Megan's house.
Hey, look, face. Hey, Willie, I'm gonna be too low. No, you don't look any dumber than you normally do. This is what we've been needing. This is exactly what the show's been needing. I love it.
I feel like I'm way too low.
I said I was gonna put my ex on blast if he ever cheated on me, and then I felt bad and said I wouldn't do it, but no. Wow, I'm like so mad right now.
So I left the captions up, but this part is silent because both him and his mom threatened to sue me, and I really don't feel like getting sued, except ever since I've taken this video down, my life has low-key been a living hell, and he's kind of been getting away with stuff. Also, he's with this girl right now. He flew out to go see her for Valentine's Day, so I obviously don't want to let him have a peaceful Valentine's Day. So I'm leaving the captions up so you know what happened in the conversation, but you're not hearing his voice. I redacted her name to protect her identity. But yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. This is my story, and I literally just can't. I don't even know. Like, this needed to go back up. This needed to go back up. Okay, so I did also unblock him on TikTok. He's blocked on, like, everything else, I think, except for, like, TikTok and Instagram. But I unblocked him on TikTok so I could be like, yo, like, I did take the video down because, like, whatever. But anyways, he's unblocked on here. So, hey, bestie, I hope you're watching this right now, and I hope you're having, like, the most amazing Valentine's Day ever. Yeah, I wish you all the peace and love and joy and happiness. Yeah.
That timing was crazy, and I did tell him in the conversation, I'm like, you called me at a really good time because I was just about to put you on blast on TikTok, so I guess this is not going to be, it's still going to be kind of a blasty video because I'm still very, very, very upset with everything that has gone down in the last couple of months. Rewind to August. Family vacation. My grandma died. I miss her. My dog and my cat died. My, like, family, like, dog and cat. My cat ran away. She came back. Thank God. I got a new position at Sephora, and I got into a relationship. I briefly touched on some of this stuff in another video. I haven't posted a gratis haul in like 4 months. I literally have like 5 gratis bags like sitting in the back of my car right now. So this man I started dating literally was like head over heels. I was like, this is like literally the best relationship I've ever been in. I see so much potential in this. Like, I love his family, love his friends. We all get along so well, like great banter, like so funny, so sweet, so nice, like dates all the time. Like literally, like I was like, oh my God, this is like everything I've like ever wanted, right? And then just one random day when I literally was talking to my coworker about how much I like him and how I am ready to move on to like the next phase, he calls me and he tells me he cheated on me. He kissed this girl. Obviously, you know her name now because it was on the phone call. And he said that she kissed him and that he pulled away and was like, I have a girlfriend, that like shouldn't have happened, right? But for some reason, like, she still slept at his house. Nothing happened, of course. And me being the person who was like, I think the best about everyone, and I try to see the best in everyone. I ignored all of my friends. My one friend literally was like, no, like, he's literally lying. Like, he picked her up from the airport, he took her home. This has been happening for weeks. He said you guys were broken up, and with all this evidence, I still chose to believe him because I was like, there is no way. This is not the Jackson that I have known for the last 3 months. Fast forward to like a week and a half later, we're still dating. I never broke up with him. I was like, I don't have the intention of breaking up with you. We talked about the cheating. We were like gonna work on things, right? Because we were like, no, like, we really want to work on things. And I was like very happy about that. And I'd been cheated on before, and we broke up, and that was like a whole thing. I was in high school. I was way more like immature. Yeah. So the fact that I chose not to break up with him, I was like, that means something. Like, I really trust my gut. And I was like, that means something. I have healed so much, and I just trust that he's good. Again, next week and a half is happening. I'm like having anxiety. I'm like, this isn't lining up. This isn't lining up. He's just like, I don't know why you're trying to like find something that didn't happen. Like, I literally told you everything that happened. Like, basically like gaslighting me so hard, like, was so confident in his lying. It was terrifying, like scary. Like, I've never seen lying like this before. Like, I'm not even kidding. I DM'd this girl because I had another conversation with my friend, and she was like, no, like, I still don't believe him. And she like told me some more things, and I'm like, oh, this is like even adding up less now. So I DM her. She tells me the same story that he tells her, right? And I'm like, oh, so he's telling the truth. Like, we're all good. Same night, I go to my friend's birthday dinner, and everyone at the table, like, I literally felt like I was like being put on blast, was like, no, he's lying. We're gonna like literally figure it out right now. After about an hour, I'm like texting him. I'm like, oh my God, like, everyone says you're lying. Like, I believe you. Like, I just like want this to stop. Like, I am like feeling so much anxiety right now. And he's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I even apologized to him for thinking that he was lying. And he was like, it's okay. Like, let's just like move past it. He was lying. He was lying. And he let me apologize to him for thinking that he was lying when he was. This girl ends up DMing me at like 11 or something, like 10 or 11, and is like, I feel so bad I lied to you. Can I call you? And she told me everything. And I would love to get into it right now, but I fear I only have like 3 minutes left. Oh my God, it's so bad. Like, crazy. Like, straight up, like, he picked her up from the airport. Like, he was like texting and like deleting messages. He like had told her he was gonna break up with me, and then told her that he did break up with me. Like, they were like, he took her out on a date, like on a breakfast date. And he was just doing this all, and like, he said he felt bad, which is why, of course, after I found this out, I did end things with him, which that night was just horrible, and he didn't seem to even care at all. But then we ended up like kind of like hashing it out and working through things. New Year's was like a whole thing, and you know, he was like really trying to prove himself to his friends and to me. So I was like, I'm gonna give him kind of another chance. I was like, we're not dating, you need to go to therapy, like, you need to do this and this. Obviously, I'm still gonna be anxious. Like, I literally don't trust you right now, like, at all. Like, obviously, like, very valid, right? So you need to do all these things, and then maybe we can date again. But we both had the intention to eventually date again, and I actually thought that this whole thing was bringing us closer. But no, I don't feel like I know this guy literally at all. Had a fantastic weekend last weekend. He was like, I feel so confident in our relationship. I find out that this girl texts him, and he doesn't tell me about it. He lies to me about it. Says it's not a big deal. We're not dating. But we were about to go on like a couple's ski trip. Like, he was trying to get me to take off for it. We were planning Valentine's Day. We were like planning what shows we wanted to watch together, dates, this, that, and the other thing. No, but we're not dating. So it's not a big deal that she texted me and I answered and whatever. We had a brief conversation. I was just curious about her life. This was the most recent Friday we had that conversation. I ended up much more things happened in between, but I ended up blocking him on everything. We didn't talk all weekend. I guess he didn't try to reach out to me at all. But then I heard that he was telling people that he broke up with me, which that's not what happened. That was a miscommunication, and I was really considering not saying any of this after the phone call I just had with him, but it was a pretty disappointing phone call, I'm not gonna lie. And I really don't have anything to lose. Like, I've already embarrassed myself. I've already like lost my dignity. Yeah, I wanted to be more open and honest on my platform, so I guess this is step one. He's never gonna be my boyfriend again, so yeah, that's what happened.